Forbidden Archaeology, Unearthing Humanity's Dominance. The wind on Kalen V howled like a banshee, carrying with it fine, rust-colored dust that stung Dr. Eris Thorne's exposed skin. He pulled his thermal cloak tighter, the imperial standard insignia carefully obscured by a hastily sewn patch. The dust devils danced across the barren landscape, mirroring the whirlwind of emotions churning within him. Kalen V, a forgotten pimple on the galactic rim, was the last place anyone would expect to find the ghosts of Earth's past, or perhaps, Eris mused, it was the perfect place to hide them. Anything, Lena? Eris asked, his voice crackling over the calm. Still sifting, Doctor, came the reply, crisp and professional, from Lena Petrova, his lead linguist. The degradation is severe. Centuries of neglect, corrosive atmosphere, it's a miracle anything survived at all. Eris nodded, though Lena couldn't see him. He understood the challenges intimately. The Kalen Archive, as they'd privately dubbed it, was a sprawling complex of subterranean ruins, riddled with collapsed tunnels and booby traps both natural and intentionally placed. They'd been excavating in secret for months, a clandestine operation funded by a handful of wealthy sympathizers and driven by a burning desire to uncover the truth about humanity's place in the galaxy. The truth, as the Galactic Empire presented it, was simple: humanity was a relatively young species, integrated into the Empire centuries ago, contributing to its diverse tapestry of cultures and economies. A grateful member of a galactic civilization, enjoying the Pax Galactica, and owing fealty to the Eternal Throne. A comforting narrative, but Eris, like others, suspected it was a lie. Rumors had circulated for generations, whispers of a forgotten golden age, a time when humanity ruled the stars, before a cataclysmic event shattered their power and left them vulnerable to the nascent empire. These were dismissed as romantic fantasies, dangerous sedition, but Eris couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was more to the story. That's why he dedicated his life to archaeology, to uncovering the artifacts that the Empire had conveniently lost or misplaced. It was a dangerous game, one that could lead to imprisonment, or worse, but the potential reward was too great to ignore. Doctor. Lena's voice cut through his thoughts, laced with excitement. I think I've got something, a coherent fragment. A data log, possibly. Eris's heart leaped. On my way. He navigated the treacherous tunnels, his boots kicking up dust that swirled in the beam of his helmet lamp. The air was thick with the musty scent of decay and the faint, almost imperceptible hum of ancient technology. He reached Lena's chamber, a cramped space carved out of the rock, illuminated by the blue glow of her holographic workstation. Lena, a woman of quiet intensity, with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages, looked up, her face pale but alight with triumph. Take a look at this, Doctor. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. The holographic display showed a series of symbols, intricate and geometric, unlike any known language in the Imperial database. But Eris recognized a pattern, a faint echo of something he'd seen in ancient Terran texts, texts outlawed by the Empire. Terran script, he breathed, amazed. But, evolved. Older, somehow. Precisely, Lena said. I've managed to translate a small portion. The subject is Earth. Or, rather, Terra. It refers to it as the cradle of the Star Kings. Eris felt a shiver run down his spine. Star Kings. The legends had always hinted at a royal lineage, but he'd assumed they were just myths. Keep going, Lena, he urged. Decipher everything you can. Days bled into weeks as Lena painstakingly translated the data fragments. The picture that emerged was staggering. Humanity, or rather, the Terran Imperium, had not been a minor player in galactic history. They had been the dominant force, the architects of a vast interstellar empire, spanning hundreds of star systems. Their technology was centuries ahead of anything the Empire possessed. They built colossal warships, mastered energy sources beyond comprehension, and even dabbled in technologies that bordered on the mystical. They weren't just advanced, Doctor, Lena said one day, her voice filled with awe and a touch of fear. They were ascendant. They believed they were destined to rule the galaxy. But then, the fragments spoke of a cataclysm, a war, a plague, or perhaps even a combination of both. Details were fragmented, but the scale of the devastation was clear. The Terran Imperium crumbled. Worlds were lost. Technology failed. And humanity, once the master of the stars, was reduced to scattered remnants, easy prey for the rising galactic empire. Eris was overwhelmed. The Empire's lies were even more insidious than he'd imagined. They hadn't just rewritten history, they'd actively suppressed the truth, burying humanity's past beneath layers of propaganda and misinformation. There's more, Doctor, Lena said, interrupting his thoughts. The later fragments, they speak of a contingency. A failsafe, designed for a desperate last stand. A weapon? Eris asked, his voice suddenly tight. Potentially, Lena replied. Or perhaps something else. The language is ambiguous. It refers to it as the Terraformer Protocol. The Terraformer Protocol. The name sent a chill down Eris's spine. It sounded less like a weapon and more like something that could reshape entire worlds. They delved deeper, following the digital breadcrumbs left behind by the ancient Terrans. The fragments led them to a hidden chamber, buried deep within the complex, untouched by time and shielded by advanced energy fields. Inside, they found a vast chamber, filled with rows upon rows of crystalline structures, humming with latent energy. This is it, Lena whispered, her eyes wide with wonder and apprehension. The Terraformer Protocol. Eris approached one of the crystals, his heart pounding in his chest. He reached out and touched it, and a jolt of energy surged through his body. Images flooded his mind, visions of a vibrant, thriving Terra, of colossal cities reaching for the stars, of ships traversing the galaxy with effortless grace. He saw the war, the devastation, the fall. And then, he saw the protocol, a network of interconnected devices, scattered across the galaxy, designed to restore Terra's glory, to awaken humanity's dormant potential. But the protocol was not just a tool for restoration. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, capable of reshaping entire worlds to suit humanity's needs, of unleashing devastating energy waves to obliterate any opposition. It was a power that could save humanity, or destroy it, and possibly the entire galaxy. The choice before them was agonizing. Expose the truth about Earth's past, and risk the Empire's wrath, potentially triggering humanity's annihilation. Or awaken the Terraformer Protocol, gamble on its potential, and risk sparking a galactic-wide rebellion. Eris knew that either path was fraught with danger. But he also knew that they couldn't simply stand by and do nothing. Humanity deserved to know its true history. It deserved a chance to reclaim its destiny. We have to activate it, he said, his voice firm. We have to trust that humanity is capable of wielding this power responsibly. Lena nodded, her face etched with determination. Then let's get to work. Activating the Terraformer Protocol was a delicate and dangerous process. They had to bypass layers of security protocols, decipher ancient codes, and navigate traps that had remained dormant for millennia. The Empire's presence on Kalan V was growing stronger. Patrols were becoming more frequent, their sensors more sensitive. They were running out of time. Finally, after weeks of relentless work, they reached the central control nexus, a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with raw energy. Eris placed his hand on the nexus, and a cascade of information flooded his mind. He saw the network, the thousands of devices scattered across the galaxy, waiting to be awakened. He saw the potential for restoration, for renewal, for a new era of human ascendancy. But he also saw the potential for destruction. The protocol was a blunt instrument, designed for a desperate age. It could easily be used to subjugate, to control, to annihilate. He hesitated, his hand trembling on the nexus. Was he doing the right thing? Was he unleashing a force that humanity was not ready to control? He looked at Lena, her eyes filled with hope and determination. He thought of his father, a historian who had been imprisoned for his heretical theories about Earth's past. He thought of all the others who had risked their lives to uncover the truth. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and activated the protocol. A wave of energy surged outwards, rippling across the galaxy. Ancient devices stirred to life, their dormant energies awakening after centuries of slumber. On forgotten worlds, forgotten technologies hummed with power. And in the hearts of a handful of humans, a spark of hope was ignited. The activation did not go unnoticed. On Corvus Prime, the capital of the Galactic Empire, alarms blared. Emperor Forlag, a gaunt and ruthless figure, sat on his obsidian throne, his face a mask of fury. "What is the meaning of this?" he roared, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "Sensors are detecting a massive energy surge, Your Majesty," a nervous aide stammered. "It's emanating from Kalen V." Forlag's eyes narrowed. Kalen V. A backwater world. What could possibly be happening there? "We're not sure, Your Majesty," the aide replied. "But the energy signature, it's Terran." Forlag's face darkened. Terran. The word was like a poison on his tongue. He had spent his entire reign suppressing the remnants of the Terran Imperium, eradicating their history, and keeping their population under strict control. "Send a fleet to Kalen V," he commanded. "Destroy everything. Leave nothing alive." The Empire's forces descended upon Kalen V with brutal efficiency. The archaeological site was bombarded from orbit, reduced to rubble in a matter of hours. But Eris and Lena had anticipated this. They had retreated to a hidden bunker, deep within the complex, protected by powerful energy shields. "They're here," Lena said, her voice grim. "The party's over." "Not yet," Eris replied, his eyes gleaming with determination. "The protocol is active. We just need to buy it some time." Using the remaining power of the Kalen archive, they sent a message out into the galaxy, a message that contained the truth about Earth's past, the existence of the Terraformer Protocol, and a call to arms. The message was intercepted by the Empire, but it was too late. It had already reached sympathetic ears, scattered across the galaxy. On distant planets, human colonies began to stir. Rebellious factions, suppressed for generations, rose up in defiance. And a handful of rogue captains, disillusioned with the Empire's corruption, prepared to join the fight. The Galactic Empire was facing a challenge it had not anticipated, a resurgence of the Terran spirit, fueled by the echoes of a forgotten past. Eris and Lena knew that they were facing overwhelming odds. But they also knew that they were fighting for something more important than their own lives. They were fighting for the future of humanity. They used the remnants of the Kalen archive to harass the Imperial forces, ambushing patrols, sabotaging equipment, and sowing chaos wherever they could. They were outgunned and outnumbered, but they were resourceful and determined. The battle for Kalen V raged for days. The sky was filled with the roar of Imperial warships and the crackle of energy weapons. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the planet was torn apart. Finally, the Imperial forces breached the bunker. Eris and Lena fought side by side, their weapons blazing, their faces smeared with dirt and sweat. They fought with the fury of those who had nothing left to lose. But it was not enough. They were overwhelmed by the sheer number of Imperial soldiers. Lena was struck down, a blaster bolt piercing her chest. "Lena!" Eris cried out, his heart breaking. "Don't give up, Eris," she whispered, her voice fading. "Tell them the truth." Eris cradled her in his arms, tears streaming down his face. He knew that she was right. He couldn't give up. He had to keep fighting, for Lena, for his father, for all those who had sacrificed everything to uncover the truth. He laid Lena down gently and picked up his weapon. He charged into the Imperial ranks, a one-man army, fueled by grief and rage. He fought with a ferocity that surprised even himself. He knew that he couldn't win. But he could buy the protocol more time. He could inspire others to join the fight. He could show the galaxy that humanity was not a broken, subservient species. They were the descendants of the Star Kings, and they would not be silenced. Eris fought until his body was riddled with blaster bolts and his strength was exhausted. He collapsed to the ground, his vision blurring. As his life ebbed away, he saw a flicker of hope in the distance. A fleet of ships, bearing the colors of the Terran Rebellion, was breaking through the Imperial blockade. They had heard his call, and they had come to fight. Eris smiled, a single tear rolling down his cheek. He closed his eyes, and he fell into the darkness, knowing that he had played his part. The battle for Kalen V was over. The Empire had won the battle, but they had lost the war. The truth was out. The Terraformer Protocol was active. And the Terran Rebellion had begun. In the years that followed, the rebellion spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Human colonies rose up in revolt, joined by disillusioned members of other species who had grown tired of the Empire's oppression. The Empire fought back with all its might, but it was crumbling from within. Corruption, incompetence, and a growing sense of unease had weakened its foundations. The Terraformer Protocol, once a dormant failsafe, became a symbol of hope for the rebels. Its technologies were used to restore devastated worlds, to create new energy sources, and to develop powerful weapons. The war raged for decades, claiming countless lives and shattering entire star systems. But in the end, the rebellion prevailed. The Galactic Empire was overthrown, and a new era dawned. A new Galactic Council was formed, composed of representatives from all species, dedicated to peace, justice, and equality. And humanity, once a forgotten and subjugated species, took its rightful place among the stars. The legacy of Eris Thorn and Lena Petrova lived on, inspiring generations to come. They were remembered as the heroes who had awakened the echoes of Terra, the ones who had dared to challenge the Empire and reclaim humanity's lost glory. The Terraformer Protocol was never fully activated, its full potential never realized. The new Galactic Council deemed it too dangerous, too tempting to abuse. But its technologies were used for peaceful purposes, to heal the wounds of war and to build a better future for all. Humanity had learned a valuable lesson from its past. Power could be a dangerous thing, and it should always be wielded with caution and restraint. The mistakes of the Terran Imperium were not to be repeated. The echoes of Terra still resonated throughout the galaxy, a reminder of the past, a warning for the future, and a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. The wind on Kalen V still howled, but now, it carried a different sound, a sound of hope, of renewal, and of a future where humanity could finally live up to its potential, not as Star Kings, but as stewards of the galaxy. The story of Earth was no longer suppressed, but celebrated, learned from, and used to guide the future. The truth had been buried, but it had been unearthed, and it had set the galaxy free.